Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
UFC London results, highlights, Arnold Allen smashes Dan Hooker in quick, action-packed fight. Getty Images. Arnold Allen earned some respect on Saturday with his performance in the co-main event. The Englishman delivered in a big way with his stoppage of Dan Hooker as the native of New Zealand looked to reinvent himself down a weight class. Allen made short work of Hooker on Saturday in a matchup where both men were rocked over the course of half a round. Allen and Hooker came out swinging. The Englishman generally caught the better of his counterpart, pressing forward with looping punches. Hooker bit down on his mouthpiece and fired back, clipping Allen badly at one point in the exchange. Allen refused to back down and whipped more shots towards Hooker. The fight slowed down for a moment before Allen stepped up and swarmed Hooker. The referee saw enough and waved off the contest as Hooker covered up against the fence. Arnold Almighty Allen, at Arnold for pound UFC London pic.twitter.com/KBAQI9GHQX, UFC, at UFC, March 19, 2022. Allen improved to 18-1 overall, has won all 9 of his UFC fights and improved his active winning streak to 11. This marks the first knockout or TKO win in Allen's run and the first stoppage via strikes he has secured in 8 years. Hooker, who returned to featherweight for the first time in more than 5 years, has lost 4 of his last fights with 3 via first-round stoppage. Arnold Allen with the biggest win of his career. At Arnold BFA pound UFC London pic.twitter.com/MTW4X yet, UFC, at UFC, March 19, 2022. Allen, speaking with UFC commentator Michael Bisping post-fight, called for a top 5 featherweight opponent next. Allen suggested that he and Calvin Kattar can put on a fun fight. Getty Images. Paddy Pimblett is carving out a reputation for taking his licks and doubling up on the return. Pimblett scored a first-round submission win over Rodrigo Vargas on the main card of UFC London at the O2 Arena. Pimblett, 18-3, had a rough start on Saturday night, absorbing an early knockdown from the major underdog Vargas, 12-5. Pimblett worked his way out of the bottom position and eventually secured Vargas back. Buoyed by the raucous support of his fellow Englishman, Pimblett locked in a rear-naked choke. Vargas tapped moments later and the crowd overwhelmed the arena with their ovation. Officially, Pimblett stopped Vargas via submission at 3:50 of round 1. Paddy get it done in London. At the UFC Paddy pound UFC London pic.twitter.com/WJSQI2Jaw6, UFC, at UFC, March 19, 2022. Pimblett, a former Cage Warriors champion, improved to 2-0 in the octagon and extended his active winning streak to 4. His debut UFC fight in September followed a similar pattern. Luigi Vendramini put Pimblett in serious danger early in the round before Pimblett turned the tide later into the stanza. Vargas is now 1-3 in the UFC. Can he get enough boxing and MMA? Get the latest in the world of combat sports from 2 of the best in the business. Subscribe to Morning Combat with Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell for the best analysis and in-depth news. See this arena, the O2? It is too small, Pimblett told UFC commentator Michael Bisping in the post-fight interview. Too small. Get me a stadium. Get me to Anfield and we'll fill it. Anfield, at the UFC Paddy is coming for ya pound UFC London pic.twitter.com/KTZIZFS, UFC, at UFC, March 19, 2022. Pimblett, who shared bad blood with another fighter on the undercard this week in Ilia Topuria, called a bout with Georgian fighter next after Topuria did the same after his bout.